Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. It is a crazy one. They finally have been caught. The Democrats have been openly coming out now because they are so desperate and have been counting illegal votes in Pennsylvania. They are trying to get it to where the Senator Casey will beat McCormick, who's the Republican who they've already called the race for. Trump and Mike Johnson and Elon Musk are furious. Elon Musk has just stated that his super PAC team of lawyers are headed to Pennsylvania right now to fight the illegal vote counting. On top of that, there's more fights that are happening for voter integrity in California. There's been a huge win that the courts did decide with a lawyer who struck down Gavin Newsom's no voter ID law. Sad thing is it's already after the election, but for the future elections, moving forward, they're working and they're getting more closer to having required voter ID in California, and this is huge. California is actually turning more red day by day. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going straight after the Pentagon because they just failed their 7th audit on the books and cannot account for $824 billion of budget on what they spent. That's almost $1 trillion of tax dollars spent, and we don't know on what. The Senate, some Democrats are doubling down on a shadow government that they want to create and undermine Trump's team and Trump's agenda. And this is causing a lot of concern over what constitutes treason whenever you have Democrats that are openly talking about a shadow government. We now have also Elon Musk, who is now meeting with ambassadors of Iran to discuss changes that could help end the war between Israel and Iran. I mean, it's very interesting that Elon, I know he's good with the finances, but now he's actually helping out with foreign policy. This is huge. So we got a ton of breaking news today. You're not going to believe it. I'm telling you, we are finally getting some common sense in America. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you to all of our members of the channel, the TrueLife News fam. Y'all are killing it in the chat. Let's go. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. We're so grateful. And right about less than a week, we're going to be doing a huge giveaway online to a charity to help out with Thanksgiving. We love you all. Thank you for your support. But we're going to jump right into the news because we have finally caught the Democrats because they're so desperate that now they're saying they're openly committing voter fraud. Check this out.
Democrats got themselves in a real pickle. They hopped into bed with the woke left, but they need the working class to win. And these two groups mix like oil and water. In the run-up to the election, Trump unleashed a barrage of ads that spelled out just how left Kamala is. Democrats were caught flat-footed. They thought everybody wanted boys to play in girls' sports. Now AOC's admitting her party got schooled.
What I think people are paying too much attention to is the first half of that ad, which says Kamala Harris is for they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad, where he said, Donald Trump is for you. Political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more.
By next election, AOC might run as a Republican.
That's
she even
true.
took the pronouns off of her Twitter bio. Schumer's head's still spinning. He's holding listening sessions to find out what went wrong. But Democrats' problems didn't start with Kamala. Republicans and moderates have had pretty much the same values for the last 30 years. But Democrats took a hard left turn in the Obama years, leaving workers behind. Look at that. Democrats tried to divide us by race, but ended up dividing themselves by class. White liberals are way more radical than blacks and Latinos, and blacks and Latinos started to realize they just have more in common with Republicans. We want the same things. The billionaire Republican got the working class, while the Democrat who said she was from the working class only got the rich libs.
We stop talking about working class people issues. When mom and pops are afraid, I can't pay my college tuition. The rent is too damn high. Healthcare is too expensive. We stop talking to everyday New Yorkers and Americans. When I'm in the street talking to them, they're not asking me, Eric, tell me about fascism. They're talking about finance. They're not talking about Hitler. They're talking about housing. We need to talk to everyday working class people, and we stop doing that.
This time around, Democrats don't have the appetite or the ground game to resist Trump at every turn. Instead of tuning in, the audiences that fueled the post-2016 resistance, they are checking out. Fox is the only one that's gotten a Trump bump. CNN and MSNBC lost about half their audience. And there'll be fewer leaks, too. A Washington literary agent says book publishers are all exhausted at the thought of doing more anti-Trump books. It's like walking out of the stadium in the fourth quarter when your team's down and they played like ass all day. No one has the energy to go through another 4 years publishing this stuff, even though the first 4 years were very good for publishers. The entire anti-Trump movement's running out of gas. They blew it so badly this week, Democrat sources are telling Primetime they might never nominate another woman ever again. And Democrat donors are already closing their wallets for the midterms. So with no money and no street teams, Democrats need to shift gears. They want to coup the coup leader, Nancy Pelosi. A top Democrat lawmaker said, quote, she needs to take a seat. While Congress overthrows Pelosi, Obama world's cooking up another coup, this time at the DNC, trying to seize power by installing Rahm Emanuel. Rahm's a political tough guy who worked for Obama. He likes to fight and win. He reminds Democrats a little bit of Trump, and that turns them on. Rahm Emanuel's a mother effer, and we need the mother effer to beat the mother effers.
Wow. I'm telling you guys, like, it's getting bad. This type of stuff, what you're about to see, this isn't normal. We are not living in normal times right now. Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I can't believe a smart man like Donald Trump have not picked Dan Bongino to name the director of the FBI, the perfect person for that job. I agree. But remember, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we don't see. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat, everybody. So this is as blatant as it gets. Pennsylvania Democrats openly admit to counting illegal ballots in McCormick-Casey race. This is from Fox News. This is a legitimate source. We know it. We have the evidence. This is why Elon Musk, he put out this. He's not playing around. This guy's got a lot of money, and he is not afraid to spend it right now. Check this out. This was posted. I'm not going to play the video, but I want to read to you. This is from Ashley St. Clair. This is it. They said RNC chairman Michael Whatley has filed several lawsuits regarding Pennsylvania Democrats brazenly defying court orders and counting illegal ballots. They said they're not going to go away quietly. Elon Musk responds and says, America PAC is also taking action. There's other sources that are saying that they are sending over all the lawyers to go through and fight this because things are happening behind the scenes. We're bringing you the top news, but North Carolina Democrat floats shadow cabinet to take on the Trump administration. They're so desperate, now they're openly cheating. They're so desperate, they want to literally, this is an insurrection right here. Trying to take over the government because you didn't get your way. And they're trying to do it through their Congress, trying to create this shadow cabinet. Like, this is what they call treason. This is so bad what we're seeing right now coming from the Democratic Party. But this is it. It's not just this. There's more and more stuff that's coming out every single day. People are distancing themselves like never before from the Democratic Party. Check this out, because I'm telling you, like, the more and more that as time passes by, a lot of just normal people are looking and saying, dude, I don't align with the Democratic Party anymore. Whatever the crap they're doing, that ain't for me. Check this out.
Playpen and sandbox. I hate to run two clips of The View, but this was priceless. It shows you how they will never, ever look in the mirror. When you go and ask voters what this election was about, they're going to tell you illegal immigration and inflation. Those were two of the biggest issues everywhere across the country. Play the clip by Sonny Hostin. Here's Sonny Hostin say, oh, no, this wasn't about prices, about eggs or anything. Keep it up. Keep it up. We want you guys in the blind in your dopey bubble because we've popped it and we got the formula now. Watch this.
I still don't believe that this was about the price of eggs, because if it were about the price of eggs and the price of gas, I mean, Trump didn't address those during his rally. He didn't address those during his campaign.
Are you serious?
He did address a microphone in a sexually explicit way, but he didn't do any of these things. And so I don't know that Democrats need to do a postmortem.
Please, Sonny, don't do a postmortem. Why? All you got to do, it took me about 5 minutes to pull this article on maybe last Forbes. Biden mistakes on the economy help explain the 2024 election. According to exit polls, in other words, what people said after they voted, voters decided the election based on perceptions of the U.S. economy. This is how stupid the bubble-living left dwellers are. I'm telling you, we need to get a charity PAC going to keep these people on the air. This is the best thing that can happen to us. And tactically speaking, jokes aside, sarcasm aside, this is going to stop soon. We have about 100 or 150 days of a window where we can get big, huge things done. Breaking news, by the way, Senate GOP leadership now down to Thune and Cornyn. That's a bit of a disappointment. I wanted Rick Scott. But, you know, these guys with the secret ballots, they'll never tell you who they voted for anyway, so that just happened. Thune and Cornyn. It's probably going to wind up being Thune at this point, but we'll see what happens. Folks, you want this to happen. There is a genuine opportunity cost, but it's going to wrap up. After about 150 days of this infighting and ankle biting with each other, they're going to get pissed off and some big donor is going to come in or group of donors and shut it down. We have to take advantage and we have to move now.
Yes.
Here's another one. You want to talk about a cult-like mentality. Here's a former member of our dopey media Talking Head Olympics medal stand, Brian Stelter. I mean, an absolute moron and another life loser. Again, no sense of self-reflection whatsoever. They just haven't figured it out yet. Stelter's dumb, though. I promise you, some big donor or a tactical guy, politics-wise, is going to come in and clean that party up, just like Donald Trump did in 2016. So we got to move now. But you still got this to hope for. Here's Stelter. Listen to this.
But I want to recognize that for all the flaws of the mainstream media, and we have a lot of them, it's not just the media's fault that trust has been declining for decades. It's also decades of attacks by politicians.
That is the main issue, is that, like, I mean, yeah, it could be that the Washington Post is endorsing candidates, or it could be that there are millions of voters who believe lying politicians who tell them lies, knowing that they are. I mean, that could be the problem, too.
They'll never get it, folks. The media does not. These guys are incapable of digesting their own role in the misinformation ecosystem they created. We have a unique opportunity of about 150 days or so. We got 2 years till the midterms, but the political capital is on our side for about the next 150 days. We've got to move and move fast, rock'em sock'em robot style. It is the only way. Please listen to me and make sure your representatives know that. They are going to try to stop them, though. And one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen in our legal system, which is collapsing, is what's happening up in New York right now with fake Judge Merchan. He has the opportunity right now to put to bed this disastrous abomination of justice in that civil fraud case Twinkies brought up in New York. Okay? The civil criminal, he can get rid of this crap. He won't. Watch what he's doing. Here's a Fox News report. He's delaying sentencing on this case instead of scrapping the case. Why? Because justice delayed is justice denied. And this guy hates the idea of justice. He wants the sword of Damocles over Donald Trump's head because he wants to look like the guy. Watch this Fox News report on that.
It is 10 a.m. in New York City, and we've got a ruling based on the Associated Press saying this a moment ago. The judge has delayed a ruling on whether or not to dismiss President-elect Donald Trump's criminal conviction. These are 34 counts that came in at the end of May 30th, and the former president's been fighting it ever since, and the judge is going to sentence him prior to the election, then delayed it given the election itself, and so this is the ruling here.
Folks, Judge Merchan, this guy is not a serious person. He is a hardcore liberal activist with family connections making money off the attacks on Trump. That's why I'm telling you, once they get their sea legs under him again, the left, they're going to marshal their forces again. We've got about 150 days to make big moves. I am all over these personnel decisions. Again, just a news break. Rick Scott did.
I'm telling you, everybody, like it's really mind blowing. I'm sorry. There's stuff that's popping up. I'm pulling it over right now. I'm telling you, they've been caught. Republicans are going after them. Check this out. Republicans have asked the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to intervene in the state Senate race, alleging the several counties are violating the court's prior ruling by illegal counting undated mail-in ballots. Like, this is going on not just in Pennsylvania. This is really breaking X right now because people are so upset with what is happening about how long it takes to count these stupid votes. After 11 days of ballots continually being counted in North Carolina, the Democrats have now taken the lead for the North Carolina Supreme Court. Look at the difference, everybody. This is literally a difference of 64 votes. So you're telling me that 2 days, the Republicans have pretty good percentage, thousands and thousands of votes, and then now after 11 days, it's down to 64 votes that is separating the Supreme Court and who's taking over, the Democrats or the Republicans in North Carolina. This is being investigated by every single state. They're still fighting it. They're still going through. Check this out. This is what Elon Musk put. The radical left is at it again, same playbook. We've seen it. We saw it in 2020. We've seen it in many, many times. They accuse anyone who says illegal votes are being counted as far right-wing conspiracy theorists. It turns out they agree it's happening, but now that's actually good. They use Lawfare and damn election officials to force illegals' votes to be counted. This needs to stop. And this is where, now that you've got Elon Musk, and he has put, they said like $200 million in this American super PAC to fight off anything that comes towards the Republicans in a negative way or any cheating whatsoever, just like what I'm showing you. That's why Elon Musk is all hands on deck. He is 100% fighting for the American freedom. Because check this out. Guess who helped win this? Elon Musk. Governor Gavin Newsom's no voter ID law argued that requiring voter ID would disenfranchise low-income and minority voters. Stupid. But Huntington Beach's city attorney Michael Gaetz wasn't having it. He went down, fought Newsom over it. The court sided with Gaetz, striking down Newsom's no ID rule. Now, thanks to Gaetz' win, Californians could soon need ID at the polls, setting a powerful example for states across the country. Source, the Associated Press. They are not playing right now. Remember how I told you they're creating the Democrats are trying to create a shadow government? Jim Jordan, who is the House Judiciary Chairman, is talking and just unloads everything of what's going on. Check this out.
Joining me now is Chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. Man, there's a lot to talk about here, Jim. Great to see you. It's a very exciting time. I just want to play a little soundbite from Elon Musk talking about what we're in the midst of right now. Let me play that and get your reaction. Roll it.
I think this is going to be the most transformative presidency, perhaps since the founding of the country. And President Trump is picking the cabinet to do it. You can see that the choices are people who are actually going to make change. It's not going to be business as usual. We're going to shake things up. It's going to be a revolution.
Congressman, a revolution? Is that hyperbole, or do you think it's fair said?
Well, I think the American people voted for a change in attitude from their government. They want a government that actually serves we the people instead of being weaponized against them. So one thing I know about Matt Gaetz is if he's running the DOJ, he's not going to be investigating moms and dads showing up at school board meetings. He's not going to be having an FBI put out a memorandum like they did in the Richmond field office, which said if you're a pro-life Catholic, somehow you're an extremist. And he might actually get answers to questions that I think the whole country would like to know. like who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th, who leaked the Dobbs opinion that resulted in assassination attempts and threats to our Supreme Court justices. And maybe he'd also get an answer to who put cocaine at the White House, for example. So that's what we want. This is a whole new coalition that's come together, embracing freedom and embracing a government that's going to serve the taxpayers, serve we the people, not be targeted for political reasons against the very people that they're supposed to be serving.
And one of the best ways they can serve the American people is by shrinking, is by not being so big and so intrusive into our daily lives. I also want to show something. It's not just the size, of course. You mentioned the bias, and just to give you an idea of what's inside the Beltway, because you know, not everybody that works in the federal government lives inside of D.C. But I just want to show you how they voted inside the Beltway. 92.5% of the people in Washington, 92.5% voted for Kamala Harris. Only 6.7% voted for Trump. That tells you.
And I'm sorry to interrupt everybody, but this is super important. This is why Matt Gaetz, they're putting him as the Attorney General, because of all the weaponized lawfare. You're seeing right now how much percentage of the people in Washington, D.C. are Democrat leaning. Well, guess what? Remember all the special counsel Jack Smith cases? They were going to be done in D.C. They were going to grab people to be on the stand and all the jury duty to work the jury duty out of D.C. Now, do you think that Trump would have gotten a fair trial? It would never have happened. There's no possible way. The numbers don't lie. But yet, this is how they were coordinating the attack against Trump to put him in jail. And thank God that because I promise you this, if Trump didn't win, they would have put his butt in jail. Because he would have faced his courts in D.C. with this amount of people, and the jury would have found him guilty just because they don't like him. This is the same thing that happened in New York. Overwhelmingly, over 90% of the people were Democratic, and that's why they chose those specific places. And even when Trump said, can we please move to a location where the voting is more 50-50, they denied his request. It's all lawfare, but that's why Matt Gaetz said, I'm coming after them, and I'm going to uncover the truth and show the American people.
Something, right?
No, it sure does. They like big government. They're part of government. They like this crazy left mentality that we see in today's Democrat Party, unfortunately. So, we want a government that is actually protecting freedom. That's why I love the picks. Robert F. K. Jr. is about expanding freedom. Tulsi Gabbard is about protecting the First Amendment, expanding freedom. David, did you ever think you'd see Donald Trump, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard on the same team?
No.
They're on the same team because
up until a year ago, never in a million years.
Right, they value the First Amendment. Here's how bad it was. I talked to RFK Jr. A couple months ago when he endorsed President Trump, and we first laughed because I reminded him that when I invited him in as a witness over a year ago, I took some heat for that. I had him come and testify. We had Tulsi Gabbard. This is when they were Democrats come and testify in front of our committee. We took a little heat for it, but we look like we're geniuses now that this new coalition has come together. And in that hearing, the Democrats made a motion to go to executive session so that kick everyone out, so no one could hear what RFK Jr. was going to testify to in a hearing about censorship.
Wow.
Think about that.
No, it's incredible. I remember that
So
very well.
this is a whole new team.
It is a whole new world right now. The curtain has been pulled back. Americans didn't like what they saw. They voted for a revolutionary change, which is what they're going to get. Let's talk, though, about the belly of the beast. And you mentioned it already. The Department of Justice, the FBI, which is their enforcement mechanism. You went through some of the things, the lawfare against Trump, the raids. Basically, though, it's a violation of the Constitution, particularly, and it's still happening. I mean, we just had this. I don't know the details of the raid on Poly Market. You know that betting firm, which just was these apparently armed FBI agents went in there, got the guy. He was perp walked out of there. Who knows? There may be something there, but you know, the Fourth Amendment against unreasonable search and seizure has been violated so many times in the past 4 years, starting, I think, with the raid on Mar-a-Lago and going on. And the people in charge of that, the head of the FBI office, is a virulent anti-Trump guy. They had to scrub his social media history when he took over the Miami office. His name is Jeff Vetri. Shouldn't there be a change in the director of the Miami office now that the president is his arch enemy?
Well, we can't have this politics and politics driving the actions of law enforcement or, frankly, any agency. We got the example of FEMA. We're going to skip the houses with Trump signs in their yard. We're not going to give them the service that they need as.
And sorry to interrupt again, everybody, but this is super important. Remember how in FEMA they did skip over houses that had Trump Vance signs? The Attorney General of Florida is now suing the FEMA for their discrimination against using politics against those people that had pretty much just lost everything, and I'm glad for it. These departments need to be held accountable, and now that Matt Gaetz is going to be the Attorney General, we will see the truth like never before.
As American citizens, as taxpayers. So when you politicize things, whether it's the FBI, whether it's FEMA, whether it's the IRS targeting Tea Party groups as they did a decade ago, that is wrong and it's got to stop. And that's what this focuses on. And you're right, David. Smaller is better because smaller government means more freedom. That's why I love what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be working on, figuring out a way to shrink down government, give us that report. We can put it into legislation and do what needs to be done for the American people.
But they're not all, I mean, the FBI, let's face it, they are the tip, literally the tip of the spear of the power of the federal government. And if they are run by, I mean, a lot of people thought we got rid of the bad apples with Peter Strzok and everything. But this guy who's heading the Miami office, he sounds just as bad as Peter Strzok. I mean, he was involved in the same kind of horrible stuff about Trump on social media that Peter Strzok was involved with. And he was, one of the things, it worried a lot of people when he was made head of the investigation into the potential assassination at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, right. So when we get a new director, I think he should probably change who's running that investigation in Miami. Maybe even tell Mr. Beltry, you need to go somewhere else, not be running the field office in this important field office in Miami. But the ATF, who killed Mr. Malinowski, put the tape on his door, early morning raid on his home, and it was a search warrant. It wasn't an arrest warrant. Are you kidding me? Mark Houck, whose family was traumatized because they couldn't. His lawyer said he'll meet you, but no, they got to go in a pre-dawn raid like they did in Little Rock to Mr. Malinowski. I mean, this is just wrong, and the country knows it, and it's why I think it was one of the reasons why President won with such an overwhelming margin.
Yeah, I would think that somebody like Kash Patel is the sort of person that President-elect Trump is looking to head up the FBI. How would he, if it's Kash Patel or somebody else like him, a tough guy with experience who knows how DOJ works and knows how these enforcement agencies work, how would they go about convincing Mr. Wray to step down?
Well, I think that'll be a call for the president. I think if the president asks for that, that's going to happen. I mean, that was part of this mandate in this election. Voting for, as I said, this new attitude where the agencies and the people running these agencies actually are focused on serving the public versus focused on politics. So Kash Patel, as you know, worked for Devin Nunes. That's when I first met Kash, and the good work he did in the Intel committee as one of the top staffers for Chairman Nunes. Kash has the right attitude. So I have full confidence whoever President Trump is going to nominate for these key positions, let's just hope we can get these folks through the Senate and get them confirmed.
Let's talk about Matt Gaetz. Very controversial pick. He had this, apparently the DOJ, as weaponized and politicized as the DOJ was, they didn't find the stuff to indict the guy. You would think if he had anything indictable in his record, the DOJ would have found it and gone after him, but they dropped it. The House investigation was ongoing, but there's a lot of hearsay in that. Do you think Senator Thune will let him pass through the Senate confirmation process and accept him?
Well, that's the way our Constitution works. That's a question for the Senate. The advising consent, that comes and confirming, that comes, that's the Senate's responsibility. What I know is Matt Gaetz is a member of our committee, and the talented way, one of the best I've seen in my time in Congress in cross-examining witnesses, just a talented individual. And if he's at the head of DOJ, as I said before, he's not going to be going out and investigating moms and dads who are simply showing up to protect their kids and help their kids get the right kind of education. He's not going to be engaged in some of the crazy things we have seen from the Justice Department over the last 8-10 years. So that to me is important. And again, he has the confidence of President Trump. All right, let's go.
All right, very quickly, because we're running out of time here, but President Trump could bypass the Senate with a recess appointment. We've seen it done before, where he could be in an acting role as the Attorney General for up to 2 years. That's a long. It wouldn't be as good as being confirmed by the Senate. Right. Here's what the Wall Street Journal editorial board said about doing something like that. Quote, "The prospect is that Mr. Trump might try to bully the Senate to go into a recess so he can unilaterally make Mr. Gaetz the Attorney General, maybe until the end of 2026. The idea is anti-constitutional, and it would eliminate one of the basic checks on power that the founders built into the American system of government." What do you think of that? Do you agree or disagree with that?
Again, that's a question for the Senate and their relationship with the White House. We would prefer the Constitution. We're the ones protecting the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Constitution, separate and equal branches of government. We want the Constitution to function. Let's go through the confirmation process and get the folks that President Trump has put up confirmed. I think it's critical that these key people who value freedom and who stepped forward and became part of our coalition, like Tulsi Gabbard, like RFK Jr., who value the First Amendment. Remember, the third day of the Biden administration, they sent an email. They tried to censor a tweet from RFK Jr., their political competition, on the third day, January 23rd, 2021. They sent out an email. Take down this tweet ASAP, and everything in RFK Jr.'s everything in his tweet was accurate, but they didn't like the connotation. They didn't like the message it conveyed. That is wrong, and everyone understands.
When you think about the first,
I want freedom.
The Second, the Fourth Amendment that are either directly violated or planned to be, and they have the nerve to talk about defending the Constitution. I mean, I don't think the American people buy it. I think the election proved the American people don't buy it, and we wish you the very best. Chairman Jim Jordan.
I'm telling you, everybody, this is like a come to Jesus party for the politicians of the United States. I wanted to show you this because remember, I got to bring the receipts. This is the actual lawsuit filed by the Attorney General to sue FEMA and to sue the FEMA person over their discrimination against people that supported Trump and Vance. Florida Attorney General Ashley sues FEMA and the former employee for allegedly instructing hurricane relief workers to avoid residences displaying Trump signs. And that person actually already came out and said, hey, we did. Because this wasn't just me. It was a lot of different people. And that, again, too, is where we're moving forward. Because right now, Elon Musk is so involved with everything right now. He's helping to fund all these lawsuits to make sure we get freedom. Because even with this is where DOGE comes into effect. Department of Government Efficiency. The Pentagon fails 7th audit in a row, but says progress made. Guys, they do an audit once a year. So this is 7 years in a row that the Pentagon, who spends more than $824 billion of taxpayer dollars, cannot account for where they spend our money. And this is why Elon Musk is going after them. Look at him. This is what he put this emoji face on them failing. And this is, again, too, where we are seeing that he is getting behind everything so much because they kicked him out. So they're doing a lot of interviews right now asking they feel like Elon Musk was one of the catalysts that allowed for Trump to win on X. He supported him. He helped him win Pennsylvania. Listen to where it all started, because a lot of people are saying Elon Musk, he's the richest guy in the world. He could have helped out the Democrats. What happened? Why did we alienate him? What's going on? Check this out.
a longtime Democrat. You've been pretty outspoken about that, but you're also a longtime supporter of Elon Musk.
And I hope you caught that. She said, you've been a longtime Democrat, and you've been a supporter of Elon Musk.
What do you think of the election results and the government that we're going to be facing?
Oh, come on.
I think that he had similar views to mine. I don't feel like I'm a Democrat anymore.
You hear that?
But he had similar views to mine, and for a long time. But I think that the Democratic Party has been taken over by unions, teachers' unions, UAW. I mean, one of the things that was really interesting is that they had an EV summit at the White House. Everyone's been talking about this a year or two ago. Yep. And in that period, they had these leading people for electric cars were invited to the White House to meet with President Biden. And Musk was invited initially and then disinvited. And the person who was praised for leading the way and in the conversion was Mary Barra. I love Mary Barra, but Mary Barra in that quarter did 29 cars, 29 electric cars. We did 300,000. And she was the one who was invited, and she was the one who was praised as the leader in this conversion from gasoline cars to electric cars. So that's because the UAW said, I don't want Elon Musk in the White House.
Y'all hear that? That's where it all started. Whenever Elon Musk, who is the pioneer for electric cars, that everybody knows that. But whenever they snubbed him for the EV summit and they praised this lady who literally in a quarter built 29 cars compared to Elon Musk's 300,000, that's when Elon Musk said, I'm done. It's over. I'm done with the Democratic Party. All they do is, they're controlled by the unions. They're controlled by politicians. That's not me. I'm switching sides. That's whenever Elon Musk was red-pilled. Check this out.
A lot of support for many of these picks. I guess it's fair to say that Matt Gaetz is the most controversial pick so far as Attorney General designate by President Trump, and he has now left his post in Congress. This is Kevin McCarthy, who was asked about this, a former Speaker of the House on Bloomberg. Let's watch this.
Gaetz won't get confirmed. Everybody knows that. It's a good deflection from others, but it also gives, I'll let it stand with that.
Caroline, what do you say to that? Does the president believe that Gaetz will get confirmed? And you hear Kevin McCarthy say that that won't happen, and everybody knows that. What do you say to that?
We do believe that. 9 days ago, President Trump received a resounding mandate from the American people, a once-in-a-generation mandate for change. Throughout this entire campaign, the American people made it clear they were sick and tired of the status quo from the Harris-Biden administration. They wanted a new direction for this country, and they chose President Trump to put America first. He has rolled out 16 fantastic picks over the past 9 days, and Matt Gaetz is one of those picks. I know Matt personally. He is a great person. He's a man of integrity. He also is a brilliant litigator. He served on the House Judiciary Committee for 8 years. Anyone who has watched him in those hearings knows that he's incredibly impressive. And like President Trump, Matt Gaetz has been a victim of the weaponized Department of Justice. And one of the promises President Trump made to the American people was to root out the corruption at the DOJ. We have seen this agency turn against the American people because of their political beliefs. Matt Gaetz and President Trump are going to put an end to that, and that's what the American people want. That's why they elected him.
So what do you say to those? It's been raised in a number of articles today, the Wall Street Journal, other places, that he was motivated to leave, to resign his spot in Congress because there was an ethics report that was going to come out as soon as tomorrow, digging into some of these questions around behavior that could really break some of these ethics regulations.
Congressman Matt Gaetz resigned his position from Congress because President Trump appointed him to be the Attorney General of the United States. It's a well-deserved position. Matt Gaetz is more than qualified for it. And again, the Biden Department of Justice investigated Matt Gaetz for years, and they cleared him of any wrongdoing. He and President Trump have both been victims of this weaponized DOJ. We've also seen the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland, who's been a disaster as Attorney General, a political person, not someone who actually cares about law and order, turn against parents at school board meetings against Catholic Americans at church, having FBI informants infiltrate mass. These are unacceptable actions that have been taken over the past 4 years, and that's why President Trump appointed someone like Matt Gaetz, who believes in the rule of law and who will make a fantastic attorney general for all Americans. I would also add, in Congress, Congressman Matt Gaetz has shown that he has a willingness and an ability to work across the aisle. He's worked with Democrats like Ro Khanna and AOC on legislation, and he'll do that in this position as well.
Okay, let's move on to some of the others. HHS is one of the unfilled jobs. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not Bobby Kennedy Jr. might be considered for that spot. Is he still in the running? And does the...
Guys, let me tell you this. This is breaking news actually really right now. When I see things, remember, I'm always going to show you things that just pop up. Michael King, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. It's the January 21st massive planetary alignment feels like a sign to me. People are awakening 100%. We've never had so much evidence like what you're seeing on screen right now. This is coming from of what's happening right now in Pennsylvania. There was 1.5 million Harris County tally of votes cast. 281,820 of those were illegal votes. All 112 races in Harris County, Texas are now in question. I'm sorry, not Texas, not Pennsylvania, Texas. All 112 races in Harris County, Texas are now in question. This is massive election fraud in federal elections. So when we look at this, remember, you literally, in 2020, if you said anything about the election, that there was fraud or there was anything, you would be taken down in a heartbeat on Facebook, on YouTube, everywhere. Now, we have X. Now, we can say it wherever that we have the evidence. This does actually happen. We are catching it right before our eyes, and people are now actually seeing the truth like never before. And again, too, you got to say, who's it all? Where is it coming from? It's coming from Trump. It's coming from the Dream Team. Because right now, Trump's got everybody on watch. Check this out. Trump's plan, this came out, Trump's plan to bankrupt Iran. His new administration will revive its maximum pressure policy to bankrupt Iran's ability to fund regional proxies and develop nuclear weapons. These will seek to ratchet up sanctions on Tehran, including vital oil exports, as soon as he takes office in January. They are not playing around one bit. They know what's happening, they know what's coming, and they know that Trump will not play. Anna Bouncing, thank you so much for the super chat. First timer, let's go. Y'all show Anna some love in the chat, everybody. Because, and the thing is it's all because of freedom of speech. If we did not have this freedom of speech, guys, we would be in a whole different new place. And I hate to say it, Harris probably would win. And she'd win by a landslide. But things are changing. Check this out.
Close. It was a landslide. He won every single battleground state, the popular vote, and Republicans, they swept the Senate, they swept the House, and he now has, whether you like it or not, a mandate to fix what is broken, and it is his duty to nominate the cabinet of his choice. You may not like it, too bad. So when you see all these people on television and the left, Democrats and legacy media, the feigned, selective, moral outrage, breathless hysteria over anything Donald Trump says or does, anything that they say about his nominations, it is important that you remember how the so-called adults in the Democratic Party performed over the last 4 years. Now, their colossal failures are far, they are wide, but tonight we're going to focus on one important issue. That is the crisis at our southern border that they lied to you about over and over and over again. The border's secure, the border's closed. It never was. And tonight I want to talk about one victim. Her name, Laken Riley. She is one of dozens of Americans allegedly murdered by Harris Biden unvetted illegal immigrants. Dozens of other Americans have been raped, including children. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other Americans, victims of violent crimes by Harris Biden unvetted illegal immigrants. Laken Riley, She was a 22-year-old nursing student in Augusta, Georgia. She was out running. She was an avid runner, an active member of her sorority, and was described by everybody that knew her as a loving, caring person, someone that could light up a room with her smile. But on February 22nd, while out on a jog at the University of Georgia, Laken Riley was brutally beaten. She was sexually assaulted. She was murdered. Her lifeless body was left in the woods near a running trail. A 26-year-old illegal immigrant from Venezuela who crossed Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's wide-open border. Of course, there was aiding and abetting going on unlawfully in 2022, is now on trial for Laken's murder. And today, prosecutors described this unbelievable, evil, heinous attack during their opening arguments. Now, we've got to give you a viewer warning. What you're about to hear is extremely graphic. Take a listen.
I'm actually going to skip this, everybody, because I want to make sure that we don't break any rules or anything policies with YouTube.
Family member, your neighbor, a loved one in your life, Laken Riley fought for her life, battling her attacker for nearly 20 minutes. She even managed to dial 911 during the assault. Take a listen. Lift a finger to secure the border for more than 3+ years, almost 4 straight years. Frankly, they have blood on their hands, and they have the blood of many others on their hands. Now, neither Harris, nor Biden, nor Mayorkas, not once did they ever pick up the phone to call her family. Somebody that did, Donald Trump did. And you know what? They lied over and over again and said the border is secure. No, it was never secure. Laken and so many other young women and men would be alive today if this incompetent, morally bankrupt administration simply did their jobs. Instead, they were aiding and abetting in all this lawlessness. But don't take my word for it. Listen to Bill Clinton on the campaign trail. You might recall.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
Yeah, if they properly were vetted, it probably wouldn't have happened if they had documentation. There are more than 12.5 million illegal immigrants pouring into this country under Biden and Harris. And according to government data, look at this, 13,000 illegal Harris-Biden immigrants convicted of murder are inside our country right now, along with an additional 2,000 with pending murder charges. And meanwhile, more than 15,000 convicted rapists, sex offenders also inside this country, along with 2,500 kidnappers. All told, more than 400,000 criminal illegal immigrants are spread out across the country, along with another 222,000 with pending criminal charges. And that's not all. We have at least 100 illegal immigrants that we know of with suspected terror ties currently living inside the U.S. In other words, known terrorists in our country. Now, we know they're here. We don't know where they are. What are they likely doing? Plotting, planning, scheming, another 9/11 or worse on our fellow Americans, on our country? But just yesterday, Biden's DHS Secretary, he's out there bragging about his great performance at the border, boasting about the administration's tremendous success. What success? Take a look.
Do you think that there should have been anything done differently over the past 4 years at the border?
That the model that we have in place now have driven the number of encounters at the southern border down below 2019 levels, the last year before the pandemic struck our country and the world. We're facing an unprecedented level of displacement of people around the world. We have actually built an architecture now that is proving tremendously successful.
Right. It was more recent than, I think some of the damage had already been done, Mr. Secretary, just with all due respect.
He's just a liar. Does the secretary want to say say this to the family of Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungary or Rachel Morin or any of the other Americans or their families who were allegedly murdered, raped, assaulted by their unvetted illegal immigrants who were welcomed into the country by Mayorkas? And then he lied, oh, the border's closed, the border's secure. I'm so sick of it. what does the border czar have to say, for her hard work finding the root cause of illegal immigration? And how many people need to die? How many people have to be raped? How many people have to be victims of crimes before they can figure out what's going on? Thank God they're not going to be there much longer. And it's no surprise that the border crisis was a top concern for voters in last week's election. And based on the results, only an idiot would double down on stupid like this and this open border agenda. And right now, on cue, far-left governor, Illinois, vowing to do everything he can do to protect illegal immigrants. This is Pritzker in Illinois. And the American citizens in his state will just have to take a back seat. Take a look.
We have a law on the books in the state of Illinois called the Trust Act, which prohibits our local law enforcement and sheriffs and the like from coordinating with the federal authorities. But we cannot prohibit them, federal law enforcement, from coming into our state to conduct raids or do anything else like that. So, look, I'm going to do everything that I can to protect our undocumented immigrants. They're residents of our state.
Now, the governor is...
I'm sorry to interrupt everybody, but I do want to let you know this, because he's not the only governor who's saying that we're not going to assist Trump with removing any illegal immigrants. Trump has already come out and said he's going to eliminate the sanctuary cities. He also said, if you're going to be a sanctuary city and you're not going to work with the federal government, with his team, then you're going to lose federal funding. And that's where it's going to hurt them the most, because they're taking federal funding. Remember, in 2023, the United States taxpayers spent $156 billion to give benefits to illegals. Not to Americans, to illegals. We've got homeless veterans. We got kids that need food. We got people that need homes. We got homeless. I mean, it's insane that they would allocate that much money to help out somebody that's not a citizen, yet it came from citizens' taxpayer dollars. But that's where Trump already has a plan.
Not the only Democrat pledging to put illegals first. The far-left governor of Massachusetts, the mayor of Chicago, are among the other top Democrats promising to protect and provide for illegal immigrants, no matter the cost. But a reckoning, thankfully, is coming. Both Donald Trump, Tom Homan, a real border czar, they are planning to send ICE into every sanctuary city and state in this country and find these people. And unlike Kamala Harris, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, and the incoming DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem, they are serious people. They are dedicated to fixing this problem and enforcing the law. And the new Trump administration is already scouting out locations for big detention centers used to hold illegal immigrants before they are deported. And on January 20th, 2025, not far away, catch and release will be over. Asylum abuse will be penalized. Latin American countries supporting or enabling this mass illegal immigration, they will face serious consequences. Cartels, they will no longer be able to operate with impunity. Millions of illegals will rightfully be deported one way or the other. Again, Donald Trump won. He won pledging to do this. This is what the American people want. I know the left, legacy media that nobody cares about, Democrats, they will scream bloody murder. And despite all the noise and all the predictable hysteria from the radical left, Donald Trump will fix what is broken, thankfully.
That's what we're asking. That's what's the mandate. When you win the popular vote, you win the presidential election in a landslide. That's what the American people want. They want to see change, and I feel like that's what we're about to get. Remember, Holman said on day one, he said it's going to be 3 words: shock and awe. Take care, protect Americans. I couldn't imagine being a parent of one of these girls that was raped and murdered and whatnot. Like, I just don't even want to think about it, but that is 100% happened. People's lives are forever changed. And it was Biden and Harris who made the call to leave our dang southern border open like they did. And Mayorkas has the audacity to say, well, we're being very successful. We have lower border crossings than before 2019. So wait. You're telling me that you think you're doing a great job now after you done let in over, they say, 20 million illegal immigrants unvetted? It is literally a joke that these people spit in the face of Americans' faces for what they've done. And I hope that Matt Gaetz goes through and holds them all accountable. Let me know your thoughts. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. We are here to serve you. And just want to say thank you so much for all your support. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, let's go with the super chat. Said, I know President Trump will do a great job for America. This time he's got some seasoned people to help him. Pray he gets the swamp out of Washington. Trump rocks Joel. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Y'all show AF Andy, Michael King, Anna Bouncing some love in the chat. Judy Lynn Loving Spirit. Thank y'all so much for your support. We are here to serve you. And hopefully you got value out of today's show. I want to show, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. And I'm telling you, it's insane how many times we show you something and then a couple days later, the mainstream media covers it. We get you the top news first. We are on top of it for you. We love you. We thank you. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.